guys, how do you choose a hookah? Market offers long, short, wide, narrow stem, with or without diffuser. In this video, we'll go through the key details you should pay attention to before buying a hookah. Hi, my name is Boris, and as always, it's Hookah Time. Let's go! Today's video is called how to choose a hookah, but honestly, the best way to choose hookah is simple. You smoke it, and if you like it, that's your choice. Today in this video, I want to talk more about technical characteristics of hookah. Let's start with the design. Design is not the most important part of the hookah, but for me it matters a lot. Hookah smoking should be enjoyable, and me personally, I'm getting a pleasure when I'm smoking on a beautiful hookah. One thing I like is a tray that comes with a net like this, so when you put the coals on it, the coal will not turn black. But if I really like a hookah, I won't reject it because of the tray. About lock system, I prefer click or screw, like instead of gasket seal. But again, it's not something that I will reject a hookah if I like the hookah. Material, and I'm not talking about the outside. It can be wood, metal, whatever looks good. What matters is inside, the parts touching water. My recommendation from the ones in the market nowadays is stainless steel. It lasts long, doesn't corrode, doesn't hold odors. Of course, other materials that doesn't corrode or something are also good. For example, titanium, but that will be really expensive. Yes, aluminum hookahs can be smoked great, but they doesn't last as long. And some hookahs use polyacetal for the stem heart, but I prefer stainless steel or maybe aluminum instead, because over time I feel unwanted odors from the polyacetal. Although there are really good hookahs in the industry using polyacetal. However, you should know that using stainless steel for that part will significantly increase the price of hookah. There used to be a belief that taller the hookah, the better, but this is not the most important part. Here is what technically the length of the hookah will affect. Longer stems can have a slightly heavier draw simply because you are pulling through a longer path. They can also lose a tiny bit of flavor because more particles settle on the stem walls as the surface of touch is bigger. So the shorter hookahs will be more flavorful and stronger, but these differences are not quite noticeable, especially if you are a beginner. For home use, for me example, I'm using short hookahs, just much easier to take care of. Stem width. Here is one of the most interesting and important parts. The draw will significantly depend on the stem. Of course, wider the stem, easier the draw. So what is the width giving us? With wide stem, when we are inhaling, we are getting more cold air inside our bowl, that way cooling our bowl more. But faster the air goes, more temperature the coals are getting, that can overheat the bowl. That's one of the reasons I'm not a fan of wide stems. When I was experimenting with the hookahs from 11 to 16 millimeter width of the stem, it could reach around 20 degrees by Celsius difference while inhaling. And with thinner stem, we are having more heat in our bowl, giving us more intense smoking and intense flavor. Also, with the thinner stem, we are having less air mix with the smoke, and the smoke is more compressed, being visually denser. What about the taste? We are getting a more concentrated taste with a thinner stem with the same reasons, as it's less diluted with extra air. My favorite internal diameter is 11-12 millimeters, and for blunt leaves starting from 13 millimeters. But again, not necessarily. You can still manage just the heat inside your bowl with different walls, with different packings, and of course with coals. Hose connector. The draw is also affected by hose connector. Naturally, the wider the hose connector, easier the draw. Also, vertical connectors can have smoother draw, and Horizontal connectors can have slightly more restricted draw. Here we can have magnet. We can have O-rings. And have just friction seal. Make sure to change your magnets if your connector is with magnet and when they corrode. Diffuser. What's the main effect of diffuser? It breaks a huge bubble into a few small ones. That way we are having noise reduction and having more touch with water as the surface of bubble touching with water is increasing. So we are getting a little more filtration with water, although the water doesn't filter the smoke as much. It's like 5, 10 or maybe around 20%. This gives us a little less taste and a little less strength because particles remain in the water more. Also, it cools down the smoke more. But here is something very important. Diffuser doesn't change the airflow through your stem. It changes the draw, not the airflow. I mean, still the same amount of smoke is passing through your stem. Just it's getting easier for us to pull through water many little bubbles instead of one big. I'd say using a diffuser is a personal preference. As for me, I don't like it, but even some hookahs I like with diffuser. Why don't I like smoking with diffuser? So sometimes I feel the tobacco is overheating. Why it happens? So when we are smoking, we feel it's smoother and we want to smoke more. And when we smoking the more, again, more air going through the coals, overheating the coals, which overheating your bowl. Purge valve. Hookahs can come with one or more balls for the purge system. More balls will give us less risk to getting the water inside your bowl. For example, when one bowl is stuck for some reason, the second one will still work. And with more balls, it will be easier for us to purge the smoke out of the base. So these were the technical characteristics you should know when choosing a hookah, but not all of these differences are quite noticeable, so my advice is just simple. Choose the hookah you like visually, choose the one you enjoy smoking. As always, it's been Hookah Time. See you next time. Bye.